Hello and welcome. To start, thank you all for joining us for our first webinar as we launch our Wholesale Readiness Program with REAP. It's been over a year in the making, and we're really excited to have our first group of farmers ready to onboard and begin using the site. So we're going to start out with some introductions, then I'll give you a brief overview of the program, and then we'll jump into our self-assessment presentation, and that presentation is going to be the majority of this video. So my name is Aiden. I have been doing various things, helping out with the Farm Fresh Atlas for about 3 years now, since the summer of 2019. Spearheading this program are Anna Landmark, our Farm to Business Director, and Noah, our Farm Fresh Atlas Manager. And then helping us out over the summer was Indemazia, who came on as an intern. So, about wholesale readiness. The Wholesale Readiness Program is a project in 2 parts by REAP Food Group to help increase direct farms to institution wholesale, and we're working to cultivate a more centralized food system in our region. At the center of the program is the Wholesale Marketplace, which is an online platform where local farms and institutions can connect, communicate, and complete transactions. Right now, the marketplace is something that we are checking in with farms and institutions before they join, so it's not a fully open site. And then the Wholesale Ready website, which was built to support the marketplace, is a fully open site, and that the guide to onboarding, the self-assessments, the resources are there for any farms and institutions to look at, to use for their own benefit. So today we'll be looking at the Wholesale Ready website, and more specifically at the Wholesale Self-Assessment, which can be seen right here. So hopefully you have seen this by now and have a printed copy. I'll explain how to get a printed copy at the end of this also. And there's a unique wheel for institutions as well as versions in Spanish on the website, but this is the base that we're going to be working with today. So our goal in creating this wheel was to consolidate some of the knowledge we think is important in preparing for wholesale. So we've categorized those knowledge bullets into 3 categories: background knowledge, institutional purchasing practices, and growing for institutions. Now, in color, it might be hard to envision, but this is what a finished self-assessment wheel will look like if you substitute better lines than my laptop mousepad drawings have the capacity for. But if you look at the wheel, there are 3 rings. You can rank yourself 0, kind of at that center in the middle, 1, 2, and 3. And so we're going to walk through the first category of bullets together, and then we'll move more quickly through the last couple categories and then discuss how it can be used to navigate our resource page. Alright, so in the first category, background knowledge, the individual knowledge bullets are: my goals align with institutions, I understand institutional food purchasing practices, I understand how to connect with institutional buyers, and I have experience selling to wholesale buyers. So if we look more closely at our first point, which is my goals align with institutions, we've broken down some of the things you might consider when you're completing your self-assessment on this topic. So these 4 brainstormed questions sort of descend and get more specific as we go down. The first one is, what are the institutions in my area? So that could be, MMSD, Madison College. Is there an existing farm to institution initiative in my area? We probably know a couple of those that we can think of off the top of our heads. And then what kind of institutions can I sell to? So, do my production practices limit me from selling to certain institutions, or delivery or quantities? And then finally, do I prefer selling to a certain type or types of institutions? And that last question really kind of gets down to, what institutions do my goals align with? And so that's where you can kind of fine tune and rate yourself on that question. So this next bullet point, I understand institutional food purchasing practices. You can kind of run down some questions as well in your head as you're filling this out. So what sort of things would you kind of ask yourself to fine tune a rating for yourself for that? I'm going to move through these a little bit speedily because this is pre-recorded, so you can pause at any point. The next bullet you'd fill out is, I understand how to connect to institutional buyers. And then rounding out our background knowledge section, we have, I have experience selling to wholesale buyers. And for the the spoke of the wholesale self-assessment that's underneath the category titles, so background knowledge, institutional purchasing practices, and growing for institutions. You can generally rate yourself on what you think you would be, or you can leave that one kind of blank, or you can make it an average of the other knowledge bullets in that category. That's really up to you. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have I understand vendor requirements for institutional markets. I understand how to manage industrial contracts. I understand how my products fit in large-scale food service menus. And I understand school nutritional crediting and how it applies to my products. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the little slides now, and you can again pause if you need to think about these more. So I understand vendor requirements for institutional markets. I understand how to manage industrial contracts. I understand how my products fit in large-scale food service menus. And I understand school nutrition crediting and how it applies to my products. All right, finally, our last category, which is growing for institutions. It's a bit bigger, and we're going to do this one similarly to the last one, but I'm just going to go to the slides so you don't have to hear me read them twice. All right, I have the infrastructure in place to meet industrial vendor requirements. I can price my products competitively. I am willing to become GAP certified and or have a solid food safety plan. I understand my costs of production. My products can meet institutional specifications and quantity. And I have strong production skills. All right, so now that your self-assessment is filled out, it should look something like this again. And then moving forward with the resource page, I'm going to use that second knowledge bullet that I've ranked at a 1 here, which is I understand institutional food purchasing practices. So I would go to our Wholesale Readiness blog, the Wholesale Ready site, and I'm going to use my self-assessment to help me out here. And you can see these are some screenshots from our page, and you can follow along, kind of go back to this on the next page. So in the top menu, you have a drop down under for farmers. If you hover under for farmers, you're going to see the farmer self-assessment, and that's where you can actually find this assessment exercise. And this video, it'll be in English and Spanish, in color, in black and white. And then if you scroll down to farmer resources, you're going to see a lot of these, this kind of row of boxes. And these are all resources that are titled and then categorized. And you can see that the first two are categorized, my goals align with institutions. So these are resources that are hopefully going to help you build knowledge on that first knowledge bullet. And then this last one here is producers grapple with UW Health's shift from local food. And that is underneath I understand institutional food purchasing practices. So if I click on this resource, I'm going to see, a story about a shift in UW Health's food purchasing practices from last year, and hopefully, if I'm needing to increase my knowledge in institutional food purchasing, this article is going to give me some insight into local food at an institutional level. So there's at least one resource for each knowledge bullet here. Some have multiple, and some contain links to knowledge databases with even more resources. So feel free to play around and see if anything in other categories is helpful to you. So the website you can find all of this at is wholesaleready.squarespace.com. And as for next steps, if you have gone through this whole process and you feel like you're ready, please reach out to us. Reach out to the wholesale@reapfoodgroup.org email, which will be up on the next slide. We're starting this small and hoping to grow it quickly, so if you're interested in joining, let us know. And we will get some more videos about getting onto the marketplace out in the future. So thank you for joining the Wholesale Ready program. Thank you for your interest. And again, this is the email you can use for any questions, which is wholesale@reapfoodgroup.org. All right, have a lovely day. Bye.